Hello and welcome to Pop Along RC, the RC car YouTube channel dedicated to getting you into RC car racing. Now, if you are a regular viewer to the channel, you will know that recently I've been struggling to get on with my radio. So therefore I'm looking at upgrading and making some changes. In a recent video we put out, there were hundreds and hundreds of comments advising me on what radio to go with. Now, I have actually made a decision. But before we get on to that decision and why I've made that decision, I thought I'd give you a quick rundown of some of the radios that I've got on with in the past and also some of the radios that are available to you right now. Now then, over here, this is my all-time favourite radio. This is the DX3R Pro with a drop-down control. Absolutely loved this radio. Unfortunately, I put it on a shelf and the wife was dusting, knocked it off the shelf, it hit the floor, and ever since that moment it's had a bit of a glitch. And when you're racing, if your radio has a little bit of a glitch, you just lose trust in it. It can't be used for racing because those little glitches can end up with you being in a wall at full speed. So unfortunately I've had to retire the DX3R Pro. I do still use it when I'm out bashing and just having a little bit of fun with the old grassroots stuff where I don't need to be quite so precise. I did actually replace this with another Spektrum radio because I am a big fan of the Spektrum radios, and I went with the Rugged. The Rugged has a lot of the similar features to the DX5 Pro, however it's just a little bit harder wearing, and because I was doing a lot of bashing and outdoor stuff, I wanted a nice waterproof protected radio that I could pretty much take anywhere. This has actually become my kind of go-to race radio as well, just because I'm so familiar with the Spektrum radios and how to get the best out of them for my cars. However, I did want to upgrade my radio and I went with an all bells and whistles Radio Link. This is, interface wise and settings, is so much easier to use. The touch screen, really nice, aesthetically fantastic. The weight of it, the way it feels, it does feel really nice. However, because I'm so used to the Spektrum, I've just not been able to bond with the Radio Link radio, and I've not been at one with the cars, and yeah, I can't get it to do what I want it to do. So for racing, it's not the radio for me. I think for the crawling, the bashing, and I'll tell you what, for some people maybe this is the race radio for them, but for me, I'm not at one with it, and you need to be at one with the car. So where to go next? Over here, I've also got my son's radio, the Absema CR3P, which is a very good budget radio that he's been using for a couple of years now. Again, it's got lots of settings on there, so your expo, your endpoint adjust, and all the sort of settings that I use regularly on these radios on there for a fraction of the price. In the comments then, you guys have put down lots and lots of different radios, and therefore I thought what I'll do is I'll have a look at some of those and see which one I want to go with. Now, the names that came out at the top of the list, you've got Futaba, obviously, a very well-known brand. Spektrum, again. Sanwa is another one. And also, we've got Noble, Fly Sky, and obviously, some people were recommending the Radio Link radios as well. So, price-wise, though, these radios vary greatly in price. Now, I can't remember exactly what I paid for this, but I believe it was probably, in today's money, you'd be looking close to about £400. This one was close to £300. This one over here on the end, you're looking at about £60. So I looked at the list that you guys had sent and done my little bit of research, and here is a roundup of, from the most expensive down to the more affordable, all the radios that you guys suggested. So in the top spot, coming in at a whopping £680, is the Futaba 10PX Fantastic looking radio, lots and lots of features on there. In second place we have the Sanwa M17. This one is £530 you're looking at to get hold of one of those. In third place it's Spectrum with the DX5 Pro, and that one you're looking at about £420. So they're the three top brands and they are the three top prices. So moving on to the next one. So for about £365 you can get yourself the Radiolink RC8X. Again, as I said, amazing interfaces, really simple to set up and use, and it is a very nice radio. Then we come on to my Rugged. You can still get these ones at the moment, and if you want to get hold of a Spectrum Rugged, you're looking at about £280. Next on the list we have got a Sanwa radio, and you're looking at about £275 for the MT5. Again, really nice looking radio there, lots and lots of features on these radios. Slightly cheaper than the MT5 is the Futaba T4PM. That comes in at about £270. Again, lots and lots of features there. Sanwa MTR. This radio comes in at around £215. And we're going to come down to the Futaba 3PV. Now this radio, you're looking at £132 for this, but that is much more affordable. The next Sanwa on the list is the MX6. Now this one comes in at around £85. That is a much better value radio, and you are still getting a quality radio from Sanwa. And then obviously if you want something a little bit cheaper still, for £60 you can get yourself the Absema radio. That's a little breakdown of the prices from the most expensive down to some of the cheaper radios, and you can see the spectrum is massive. So for my next radio, for my racing cars, I have opted for a Sanwa. I recently visited Schumacher, and I want to say a massive thank you to the guys at Schumacher, because we went on our little tour of the factory. Hopefully you've seen that video. And we were talking about the issues that I'd been having with my radio and what I wanted from a radio. And they asked a question, on some of these more expensive radios, how many of the features was I actually using? And to be honest with you, I wasn't using many of them. I use endpoint adjust, and I do the Expo curves on my steering. And apart from that, I don't make a lot of changes. Obviously you've got your trim and your sub trims and things like that, but I use minimal settings on my radio. And they pointed out, if you kind of don't need all the settings that you're paying for with some of these top end radios, so you can afford to get a slightly cheaper radio, providing you've got your Expo and your endpoints, you're pretty much good to go, which makes a lot of sense. So therefore I then started to look at what brands I like. Obviously I like my Spectrum, but the one that came up as being one of the top racing brands is the Sanwa radios, for the way that they feel, the way they respond. That is what everyone, or most people, were telling me to go for. So I have opted for this radio here, and this is the MX6. So this is one of the cheaper radios, and on the list that we were just looking at, you can pick this up for around about £85. You could probably get a discount and get it a little bit cheaper. So if you did want a discount, check out Rochester RC and get a discount code, pop along RC, and you'll be able to get this a little bit cheaper still. So the MX6 is kind of an entry level racing radio. So this is what I'm going to be putting into my GT12, and I'm looking to get another receiver so that I can also put it into my MTC car and see how we get on. So let's take a closer look at the radio and see what we got. So that takes 4 AA batteries. Do you know what? Decent amount of resistance on that spring. returns back to centre really, really quickly. Nice feel to the buttons. So it's quite a bit smaller than the Radiolink radio. Again, quite a bit smaller than the Rugged. But it's a nice light radio. Do you know what? I'm interested to see how we get on the track.